These days, your calendar is supercharged, and you find yourself having to pencil in when you need to breathe. As we're always moving and grooving between our offices, homes, studio, and out, we could all take some moments to spend time and hear from our faves in pop culture on what they're up to and how they keep it together as well. I'm your host, Kimmy Smith, a celeb fashion stylist, co-founder and creative style director of Athleisure Mag, co-executive producer and host of a number of shows in our multimedia podcast network, Athleisure Studio. When you plug into Bungalow SK, you'll get to hang out with those that, regardless of their background, are juggling their busy lives and have words of empowerment to keep us motivated throughout our day. On today's episode of Bungalow SK, we catch up with Seniesa Superbad Estrada, who is a WBA 18-0 flyweight boxer. We talk about how she fell in love with the sport of boxing, how she broke through an array of challenges to get in the ring, her sponsors, and how she wants to give back. We also talk about how she is staying in fighting shape as we all navigate our routines in the times of COVID-19, as well as what it's like to have Danny Trejo in your corner. I've been a boxing fan since I was 3 years old. When was the moment that you realized that you loved this sport and that you wanted to be involved in it?
When I was about 6 years old, I believe.
Wow.
I would watch boxing fights with my dad when I was a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
My parents divorced. They divorced when I was one.
Mm.
So the only time I would see my dad was on the weekends, and we would go over to his house, and every weekend there was either a big pay-per-view fight that was on that he would order and we would watch, or he would just put on like classic boxing fights, old tapes that he had of like Little Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard, Tyson, all the old school fighters. So just from the first moment that I watched the fight, it just really intrigued me, and I was just like, everything just made sense to me. And I was like, that's what I want to do.
Oh my God, I love that. And when did you actually start, and who was your coach?
I started when I was 8.
Oh, wow.
So from the age of 6 is where I started watching boxing. And then at 7, I really, really wanted to box. And I spent like maybe 6 to 8 months just asking my dad if he can please take me to a gym so I can start boxing, but he was like totally against it. I remember when I first asked him, he was like, boxing's for boys, you know, you can cheerlead or do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, cheerlead? That's boring. And so my brothers played baseball from t-ball all the way to high school.
Mm.
So I was always at the park with them, and I loved baseball. That's like my second favorite sport. And even baseball, he was against it. He's like, baseball for boys too.
Mm.
So the very first gym I went to was in Alhambra, which is where I live now. It's about like 5 minutes from East LA.
Mm.
And he walked into the gym, and the trainer says, "Oh, you know, she's too young. We usually start kids at like the age of 13. So bring her back when she's 13, and plus she's a girl, so we don't really train girls."
Oh.
So he got back in the car, and he told me what the trainer had said, and I started crying.
Mm.
So at that point, he realized like how much I really, really wanted to start boxing. So he took me to the local gym in the neighborhood that he grew up in, which was Hollenbeck Youth Center.
Mm.
And great place. It's a boxing program that's free to all kids. So it was a basketball program. It was just an awesome place. So he took me there, and the very first trainer that I had, his name was Ronnie Revolta.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember walking into the gym, and he was like, "You want to box?" And the gym was just filled with little boys. I was the only girl
Oh my
in
God.
there. And he goes, "Okay, you know what? I'll train you, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna treat you just like one of the boys. I'm not going to treat you any different."
Wow.
And I said, okay. So started from there and haven't stopped since.
That is an amazing story. So what point did you decide that you were going pro, and what led to that decision?
I would say when I was 16, I won the USA National Championship, which ranked me number 1. in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And the first women's Olympics for boxing was going to be in 2012, which is about 3 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I had like over 100 amateur fights already.
Whoa.
And I wasn't sure, like, I didn't really want to wait another 3 years. I was tired of the traveling and the tournaments. And then I also fractured my toe. I dropped a weight in the gym on it.
Mm.
It was the toe on like me being able to compete.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of held me back a bit. So at that point, I was just like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't want to wait another 3 years, and I'm injured. So I decided to turn pro. But turning pro, like I didn't realize the transition, how it was so different, because in the amateurs, like there's pretty much a tournament like every single month. So I was fighting constantly, and then when you turn pro, it's not like that. Especially especially for women, like now it's great. But back when I first turned pro, it was completely different. Like it was difficult to get a fight. It was difficult to get signed by a big promoter. So I was fighting, I would say, like every 7 months.
Oh my God.
Sometimes maybe every 8 months. So I didn't realize how different the transition would be, and I didn't realize like how dead women's boxing was when I first turned pro.
Mm-hmm.
And just to see the change now and the difference, which it's only been, the change has only happened like within the past like maybe 2 years.
Wow.
But it's like, it's insane to see like the difference of where women's boxing was 5 years ago and where it is at today. So yeah, it's only getting bigger and better. So I'm excited about the future.
I mean, that's amazing, but also like what you were saying, to know that it's been like only in the last couple of years that this uptick has started to take place noticeably. And looking at just in the research that I did of you, you have broken through so many barriers in the sport. Like you said, being a female fighter, being a Mexican American, winning the women's Golden Gloves match. I know that you're signed the Golden Boy Promotions, and you've gotten so many firsts that you've broken through. What was your motivation to continue playing the sport with all of these, things that could impede some people if they were trying to break through?
My motivation, I would say, like, well, there were so many times that I wanted to give up, but I think the motivation definitely is, like, I would always think to myself, like, I wouldn't be able to, like, spend the rest of my life always wondering what I could have done and what I could have became if I didn't give up. So I think, like, that's the one thing that really always kept me motivated and kept me going.
Well, what is a typical training session like for you normally? And then obviously, since all of us are staying in for COVID, how have you modified those types of things in order to stay fit?
So typical training, I would do strength and conditioning for about an hour to an hour and a half before going to the boxing gym. And then I would be at the boxing gym for about 3 hours.
Wow.
And but now it's been a little different, of course. We've been running at the park and also training there, and then recently started training in my dad's backyard. So we try to get like as much equipment as we could out of the gym to his backyard. So yeah, I've been doing that. So, I mean, it's a lot different without having like a boxing ring and like easy access to everything.
Exactly.
Boxing gym. But I mean, like I was talking about it with my trainer, we're like, yeah, if we end up fighting in like July, which is like what we're getting ready for, we're not going to have any sparring. But it's like, I've been through so many training camps where like I couldn't get any sparring, so I probably only sparred like maybe 6 rounds through the whole training camp, which is like insane.
Yeah.
So just all the little like obstacles and things that I have dealt with through my whole career, this is kind of like, oh,
been there, done
no
that.
big deal, because we've been through so many crazy things before when it comes to like training. We didn't have a gym for a while, a few years back, so we were actually training at the park. So it's kind of like, similar now.
Exactly. What is it like on fight day for you in terms of, do you have certain routines that you do when you're preparing the day of the match?
I would say day of the fight, I just like to be left alone. I don't really like to have, like friends or family around me. I don't like to, I just don't like to talk. I just like to stay focused and be by myself the whole day leading up to the fight. And I get very nervous. I feel like, so many people are surprised to hear that I get so nervous because it doesn't really show, especially when I get in the ring. It doesn't show. But and then having like so much amateur experience and just I guess like being as good as I am, people don't expect me to get nervous. But that's the one thing that like people are totally wrong about, because I get extremely nervous. Like my hands are soaked in sweat.
Oh my God.
And I don't eat you're supposed to eat a good breakfast before it's the fight, and even have lunch if you can. But I get so nervous that I can't eat like that morning of or anything. So.
And who have been your mentors in this sport?
Mentor in the sport, I would say my dad, just because he's just been through so much personally and he's overcame so much. As far as being like in and out of prison and addicted to drugs and like changing his life, and being my number one supporter and always making sure that like I never give up and I always continue to have faith in myself and faith in God. So he's the one person that no matter how down I'm feeling or no matter what it is, he's always there to like lift me up and keep my head in the right place.
Your career has been phenomenal. What do you think about that? And what are your goals, in addition, just from the sports side, that you want to do, being such a dynamic person?
In the sport, I just want to continue to change the sport of women's boxing for the better. I mean, I know, like, it won't be easy for all female fighters, but, like, all I can do is continue to accomplish my goals and hope that people see me and they recognize me and they get more open-minded to watching women's boxing and to, supporting other women in the sport. And of course, my goal is to win multiple titles at 3 different weight divisions. So
absolutely.
That's definitely something that I want.
And I know that you signed with the SoCal Sportswear label, and you have partnerships like with Ladders, which we're actually fans of Ladders. We've included them in Athleisure Mag before. Why are these great fits for your brand? And are there other partnerships or sponsorships that you also have?
Ruka is a great fit for me, I think, because it's difficult to find a brand that really supports you no matter what, through like the ups and the downs. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of sponsors and brands that want to work with you when you're at the top and when you're winning, and Ruka has been there with me like from even before I actually signed a deal with them. They were always supporting me and always there. So I know that it's more of like the people, like Pat, who's the owner of Ruka, more of the way, how genuine he is, and that's kind of what really got my attention as to like how the type of brand I want to work with and the kind of relationship I want to have with the brand. I don't want to just wear the clothing and represent them, but like there's no relationship and no loyalty, So that's what really stood out to me about Ruka, and I just fell in love with everybody who works there, all the employees, all the other athletes. Everyone's just really good people, and that's what I really appreciate about Ruka.
Wow.
And as far as Ladders is a great company. They've been great to work with. And I love their products, and I've always had a hard time like finding supplements that I like.
Yep.
And like supplements that I feel that are actually working. Like I've never really felt that until I tried Ladders, and of course everything tastes good. So
Exactly.
That's very important. So tastes good and it works.
Which is like the perfect, balance between the two. You also are either sponsored or you have a partnership with Danny Trejo. Like, how did that happen? And has he given you advice on, just staying motivated and anything else like that? I mean, we love him. We love his taco shops and also his movies. And he's just such an amazing personality.
Yeah, he's great. Daniel is actually the one who introduced me to him, and Daniel met him through working for the Rams, right, Daniel?
Yeah, when I used to work there, me and him became close friends.
Wow, which is a nice friend to have, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's he's amazing. He's super, super supportive, and like he's just somebody that like really genuinely cares for his close friends and his family. So yeah, I'm grateful to know him. And like, I always tell people, like, it's funny because every time someone asks me, like, how is Danny? Like, what type of person is he? I always tell them, okay, well, here's an example. Like, usually, like, he would like, if he's doing like an interview, he would like invite me to come along with him, so we can talk about me and stuff. So I would say, like, every week I get a call from him.
Wow.
And, like a random call, right? It could be like a Wednesday or a Monday. And I'm like, oh, hey, Danny, what's up? And I'm like, okay, what does he want,
Mm-hmm.
But, like, he's like, hey, oh, nothing, I just want to know how you're doing, just checking up on you. And I was like, oh, okay, well, is that all? He's like, yeah, I just want to see how you're doing. I'm like, oh, okay, but, like, that's the kind of person he is. Like, he just calls just to check up on you. Not because he wants to tell you something or he wants anything. He just calls just to check up on me.
Wow.
I'm like, wow, I don't even have friends or even, like, people in my family who call me, like, randomly every week just to check up on me. I think that's, like, it's just amazing. Every time I tell people that, they laugh. They're like, wow, that's, like, interesting, because no matter what he has going on around him and what he's doing, but how many movies he's filming or interviews he's doing, he still takes the time to think about the people that he cares about.
What else in terms of when you look at goals as a brand, and everyone, is always looking at what else they also want to work on or be involved in, or, just other types of things to add more verticals into what their brand is. What do you envision yourself as you continue to build your empire, whether it's in sports or even outside of sports?
As far as outside of the ring, I would like to just motivate and help the youth in, like, inner city of, like, communities that I grew up in. And I also want to open my own boxing gym in a community where it's affordable to kids. I know a lot of gyms are, like, expensive now, especially boxing gyms. But yeah, being able to start boxing at Hollenbach Center where, like, it was a free program, and, like, my parents couldn't afford to pay a monthly fee for me to train every month. So I know how important that is, especially when, like, there's a family who has, like, 3-4 kids who want to box.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's not easy to pay $125 a month for a gym fee for each kid. So, I would like to open a gym and close to my community that I grew up in, and have it affordable, and also have, like, I would also like to have, like, classes for, like, counseling for whether it's drugs or just something to, like, every day when you go into the gym. Not only are you going to the gym, but, like, it's a place where you can feel comfortable talking about what's going on in your life or what's going on around you.
Wow. I think that's amazing. The balance between athleticism as well as just, like, positive mental health.
Right. Yeah. I think that's really important for kids in the community to really find someone or find a place that they're comfortable speaking about things that are going on in their life.
Thanks for joining us for today's episode of Bungalow SK. Make sure to follow, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts. You can also follow and listen on additional podcast platforms, including Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Himalaya, SoundCloud, and Stitcher Premium. Bungalow SK is a member of the Multimedia Podcast Network, Athleisure Studio, part of Athleisure Media and Athleisure Mag. You can see our show notes at athleisurestudio.com/bungalow-sk and follow us on Instagram at bungalow.sk to find out who we're talking with, as well as what our guests are up to. Bungalow SK is executive produced by myself and Paul Farkas, with sound editing by the Athleisure Studio team. Our music is courtesy of Icons 8 with Forever Tea performing Renaissance. I'm your host, Kimmy Smith, and I'll see you next week at Bungalow SK.